Good morning, Independence. It is 91 days to Super Tuesday. Today, after traffic dies down, I will be headed into Oakland to go to the Alameda County Registrar of Voters office and finish, I think, everything that I need to finish there. I will be turning in my signatures that were collected on the Alameda County side of the 10th District. And I'll be turning in my candidate statement, which is drafted. I'll be turning in my ballot designation worksheet, which is basically the title that I will have on the ballot, which will be business owner. And then I had to provide justification for that. And I think signing my formal declaration of candidacy after I turn all of that in. And I think that is all I should end up having to do in Alameda County. And then tomorrow morning, I will just be headed back to Contra Costa to turn in my candidate statement for their voter information guide. So this morning, I didn't have too much to talk about, but I did want to bring up one point in how independence will greatly improve how the committees in both the House and the Senate would work. So I've already kind of jokingly talked about how having independents to talk about at Thanksgiving dinner instead of just Democrats and Republicans will help reduce family conflict and conflict between friends. I made the joke that I saved a politically divided marriage because the husband and wife used to vote opposite parties every single election, essentially canceling out each other's votes, and now they finally agreed on the first thing in decades, which is voting for an independent candidate. I also obviously addressed how having independents in Congress will help bring legislation to the middle. I talked about why having independents would help get us closer to having a balanced budget and be more fiscally responsible and more carefully investigate and audit all of our government agencies and programs to make sure that they're being good stewards of our tax dollars. I also talked about yesterday how having independents in Congress will rapidly get money out of politics, because if a special interest group can no longer count on either party getting legislation through, they're going to stop giving money to the parties in the first place. Today, I just wanted to talk briefly about how the dynamics of the committees in the House and the Senate would completely change with independents in Congress. The way it works right now is the majority party gets to have the chair of every committee, and they usually have a one person, or if the majority is large enough, maybe a two-person edge in the number of members in the committee. So when anything comes up for votes, the chair guides the committee, gets to determine what the agenda of the committee is going to be. And then the members, if they have a majority on the committee, the vote is always going to go one way. And the reason is because there are no people in either party that are close to the middle now, like there used to be maybe 30 years ago. It's extremely rare where a member of one party will vote on an issue with a member with the other party. And so having one or two independents on a committee in Congress will completely change the dynamic of the committee, because it's then very possible that the number of Republicans and Democrats on the committee is going to be equal, and the tie-breaking vote on a decision is going to be made by one or two independents in the middle. And that will actually cause both parties to move closer to the middle position in order to try to get the independents to move one direction or another, just a little bit further left with them or just a little bit further right with them. And that means that the work of the committees is going to be more efficient. They're going to reach consensus faster. They're not going to be arguing. And then when they bring in witnesses to testify from different government agencies or programs or about different issues and deciding whether or not to pass new laws, the questioning of those witnesses is going to be much more reasonable. Right now, you typically have one party grilling a witness because they're against that law or policy or against that witness, and then you have one party trying to coddle that witness to make them look more favorable. And they both do this just to get that 5 or 10 second soundbite to have broadcast on the news channels. With independents on the committees, everything is going to moderate. You're not going to see these extreme characters yelling and screaming or protecting the witnesses or coddling the witnesses or going straight at the witnesses anymore. Everything will move much closer to the middle. The independents will be like a magnet that brings both parties to the middle, back to closer where it used to be in the 70s, 80s, and 90s before both parties became very, very extreme. We just don't have the moderates in the parties that we need anymore. So now there is a giant void, a huge vacuum in the middle. And the only way we're going to be able to fill that vacuum is by getting independents in, because the parties are not going to come back to the middle. That is absolutely clear. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And after traffic dies down here, hopefully relatively soon, I'll be headed into Oakland, into Alameda County Registrar of Voters Office, and I'll let you know what happens. Just leaving the Alameda County Registrar of Voters took care of everything. I'm officially done in Alameda County. Turned in the candidate statement, signed the declaration of candidacy, turned in the signatures, turned in the campaign information sheet, and I don't know, all the other stuff I needed to turn in. So I'm officially done in Alameda County. The last thing I have to do is go back to Contra Costa tomorrow to turn in the candidate statement for Contra Costa County's voter information guide. See you later. Good evening, Independents. It is officially 1 month into the campaign. I launched the campaign on November 5th. It is now December 5th, and it's been a successful first month. I have all of this staged out. The first month, the goals were to just begin creating content, good content, so that I can iterate on framing and lighting and sound and thumbnails and titles and the different formats and lengths of the videos and file sizes and captions, and there's a lot that goes into making this, and I've never done it before. So the goal was to try to create as much content as I could while still maintaining quality and putting views out there that will resonate with the voters of this district. And I think I've successfully done that. I'm beginning to get everything down. The last element that I have to figure out is a little bit higher quality sound, and I have some extra microphones. I just haven't used them yet, but I will figure that out either the end of this week or this weekend. And the other goal was to just turn in all the paperwork necessary to become an official candidate for the race in the U.S. House of Representatives here in California's 10th District. And I've successfully done that. Alameda County is officially done as of this morning. And tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock a.m. I have an appointment to go back to the Contra Costa County Registrar of Voters Office to turn in the candidate statement and hand in the check for that, so that I will appear with my statement in the Contra Costa County Voters Guide. And for the next month, I will begin getting back to the original information that I put out about the Independent Joe Show, which is to begin starting the street interviews and the sit-down interviews with leaders in the community, and episodes where I talk about the issues either by myself or with other experts that can help talk about complicated issues and all of the sides to them and begin moving forward to solutions. Because if there is anything about my candidacy, well, there are really two things about my candidacy that I believe are fundamentally different than any other politician that's in the House right now. One is, obviously, I'm running as an independent. I am trying to run to break the two-party system to show that it can be done, because the two parties are too polarized. There is no middle ground anymore. We do not have moderate politicians like we did 30 or 40 years ago. And the only way we are going to fix Congress is by filling the void, by filling the vacuum between the two parties with true independent candidates. And everything that I've talked about in all of the prior podcasts about how it will help with the budget process, it will reduce the amount of money in politics, it will bring legislation to the middle. That's what I'm really trying to do. So that's the first obvious thing. And for me to try to run a campaign where I can beat an incumbent who's been in there for 5 terms and is running for a 6th term, and become the first newly elected member to the House as an independent candidate in 33 years will not be an easy thing. But I've run the numbers and it can be done. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think it could be done. I'm not just running to raise an issue. I'm not just running to raise my personal profile. I'm running to break the two-party system and to restore Congress, restore power over Congress to the people. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I am here to find solutions to problems instead of just taking sides, which only results in a gridlock and continues pushing all of our problems down the road, only to let them grow worse and cost us taxpayers more. Everything in Washington becomes polarized, and that is what is damaging our country. It's the two-party system that's damaging the country. Everything from the Ukraine-Russia war and the Israel-Hamas, Israel-Palestine conflict. People take sides instead of finding solutions. What is the solution to ending the Ukraine-Russia conflict so that 10 years from now, we don't have to worry about it again, that there is going to be no further conflict in that sector of the world? What is the solution to finding a resolution between the Israelis and the Palestinians, so that 10 years from now, we don't have to deal with this anymore? We don't have to worry about supporting Israel, not supporting Israel, supporting Palestine, not supporting Palestine. Let's just find solutions to these problems. Everything from international wars to our debt crisis, to the border, to education. Everybody takes sides, and then they use those sides to leverage the public, to leverage votes, to leverage their donor bases, to wage war against the other party. I'm not going to do that. I'm not beholden to any donor base. I'm going to listen to the people in this district and use that to guide my own internal compass to come to what I believe is the best solution to an issue. And solutions can be complicated, and they are complicated. And any politician who tries to tell you that there is one side or another side is just trying to take advantage of you. That's not what I'm going to do in our district. And I think you'll start to see in stage 2 of my campaign, as I get out into the community, begin talking to more people, begin bringing more people in front of you, that much of our district is on the same page when it comes to how to resolve problems. That is all I have for this evening. I will see you again tomorrow for the second month of the Independent Joe campaign.